Hello, welcome to this week's How's the Market, Pensacola. Cap rate, cap rate, cap rate. That is not what you make. All right, so obviously I'm not in the studio. As you guys can see from the background, I don't have my cap shield. And I've got a little thing over my head right here. It's because I'm in a hotel. I'm down in Orlando this week doing a little bit of speaking, plus I'm in a course kind of refreshing a few things that I was sitting there looking at, but I got about four calls last week, all from people wanting to sell me an investment property, and we're just going on and on and on about the cap rate. I think that is something that people are not understanding, and is trying to move from the commercial world into the residential world. The formula does apply. It's called a capitalization rate. A capitalization rate does apply when you look at a project. Like I said, this is mainly done in commercial, but you can do it to residential. When you look at a project and go, okay, if I buy this property, here's all my income, here's all my expenses, you come up with what's called a net operating income, and then you put that out to what you put out, and you get a capitalization rate. There's a whole formula I can go through with it, all right? The problem is the capitalization rate does not consider any debt. So if you were buying it cash, it might match. But when people start barking capitalization rates, especially in this market, and they got this high capitalization rate, okay, I start to wonder, all right? Because I've seen traditionally in the market, capitalization rates are coming down. They come down because the market dictates, especially here on the residential side, that we can get more for these properties. So people are willing to take a little bit of a less income. What's more important to you if you're investing in real estate than capitalization rate? We can take capitalization rate and use that formula and go, yay, that's fun. It's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in what's called cash on cash return. If I put out $1, how much do I get back every year? What is my rate of return? That's going to include my debt service, which is not calculated in cap rate. So when I see people trying to sell investment properties basing everything off of a cap rate, I think you probably Googled a little too much, because some of these people selling it have been in real estate 6 months, and they just learned that term, I guess, I don't know. And they just want to use it on everything. And it's not, it's got its place, but if you're buying everything just based off cap rate, you're missing out on a ton of stuff, because you've got value add. There's all kinds of things, especially since I said most of the cap rate stuff that people talk about are commercial. Well, there's a bunch of things extra you can do with that. So just be careful, because if I've gotten the phone call, 4 times last week just about capitalization rate, I'm sure that some of my listeners here, some of the people that watch this channel are getting that phone call. Just watch it. Cap rate's good. It's not bad to calculate, but it's not as important as cash on cash return, especially if you're talking about single family residences, multifamily, residential. You start getting commercial, a triple net lease. If I go buy something, then Walgreens has just signed a 25-year tenant, that's a totally different game. Matter of fact, I had a friend of mine, I want to say he was down outside of Daytona, and bought a building for 2.4, renovated up a little bit, only spent about $100,000 renovation, and then got Chase in there. And Chase signed a 25-year lease. Well, in commercial real estate, this is one of the ways that it differs from residential. In commercial, all of a sudden his increased value shot through the roof. He owned that property for about 7 months, renovated it up, got Chase to sign the lease, got Chase in there, and then wound up selling it for almost 5. It was 4.8, 4.9, something like that. So he upped the value of the property, which you can do in commercial properties by value adding. And one of the values that people value highly are the leases in commercial properties. So just make sure that you don't hear fancy words and think, oh, well, I'm buying an 8% cap rate. This is awesome. Okay, it's not necessarily the case. You're trying to look at cash on cash return, especially for the folks that are watching this show. Because these are usually single family residences, maybe duplexes, triplexes, quads. You start getting into 5, 6, 10, 16, 100 unit apartment complexes. It's a different game. All right, we've got to change strategies at that point. Nothing wrong with it. I'm talking with a couple of my investment clients that have been investors with me for decades, or at least a decade. And they've got a ton of equity and they've built a portfolio. Well, now, just like Monopoly, if you remember the Monopoly game, it's time to trade the greenhouses, the little greenhouses, for the red hotel. that'll help. And so we've got to have different conversations. But again, I'm more interested in cash on cash return than I am a capitalization rate. So don't let fancy terms get to you. All right. Sorry, I went on a little bend there, but like I said, if I got those phone calls from people trying to sell me, and I know what I'm doing, I'm sure those phone calls are going out with a bunch of people, and these are people that are kind of coming new to the area, so I wanted to bring it up as something to keep an eye out for. But this show really focuses. I don't know if that's a word. I think it is. Focuses is the word I was trying to say. I just couldn't enunciate. Focuses on inventory in Escambia and Santa Rosa County. So let's get to that right now. Let's go. All right, if you don't know, I always start to show off with this slide right here. If you have between 6 and 7 months worth of inventory, you have what's called a neutral market. Anything greater than 7 months is considered a buyer's market. Anything less than 6 months considered a seller's market. What the slide doesn't say, anything greater than 9, hyper buyer's market. Anything less than 3, hyper seller's market. Let's jump over to Escambia County. And look here, we got orange. Look, we got orange. What does orange mean? Orange means that I'm over 3 months inventory, which means I'm out of the hyper sellers for that particular price point. We're at 3.1. Would I change anything? Pricing, buyers, sellers? Nope. I would still treat it like a hyper sellers, but it's good to see some inventory coming there. We've got a little extra inventory there, and demand is not quite as high, although I suspect that will change soon. One of the things I don't like is under $350,000, we have less than a month's inventory, every price point. Between $500,000 and $350,000, we got 1 month's inventory, basically 1.2 and 1.3. Looks like there's a pocket, 500,000 to 550,000, which is interesting because that pocket's come out before in Escambia County. We're at 2.7, so that one actually might creep out of the hyper sellers soon and into just the sellers. But not many more added overall, 365 added. And if you look, or 365 active, not added. I wish it was 365 added. No. And if you look over here, things are selling at 100 to 101%. Let's jump over to Santa Rosa County. And yep, oh look, we're over 200, yay. So we did creep over 200, but everything is still way, way low. You go up to $500,000, you're still under a month's inventory for every price point. Looks like the 550 to 600 is 2.5, so that one may creep out of a hyper sellers soon, but I don't know. And luxury down here is 2.2, and again, everything's selling for 100% a list. You do have 94 to 95% of list between 100,000 and 150,000. And like I said before, those usually need work. I'm trying to keep it a little short. I always end the show talking about our instant offer program. If you don't know what that is, I basically come out and give you an instant offer on the property. Most people that are taking advantage of that need to do a little work on the property or a lot of work on the property or need to get it sold quickly. They do not have time to come on the market, wait 30 days for somebody's loan, a bunch of inspections, and that they just don't have time for all that. They got to go. There's some opportunity come up or something that needs to happen. And so I get those phone calls. I got a call last week. The guy hadn't been to Florida in 8 years. He just inherited a property and the property's in pretty rough shape. So he's like, hey, what can I get? I don't have the funds to be fixing anything up. What can I get? All right, those type of work with the instant offer program. And a lot of people will use my instant offer as an investor as the floor and then ask me to come out and market it and see if you can get some more. I was at dinner a couple of weeks back with my wife over at Angelina's. If you hadn't been to that place downtown, that's really, really good. So shout out Angelina's. But somebody came over who did that, and I had given them a floor offer, and they were happy with the floor offer. But they're like, I'm not in a big hurry. I'm like, well, you're not in a big hurry. Let me see if I can get you more. If I can get you more, great. And he came over and said, I really didn't think that you were going to try and get me more because I think you wanted to try and get me at that price that you offered as an investor. And I was shocked that you got me more. I think I got him $30,000 more. It was great. But that worked. If you've got the time to do that, it works. I had another investor client of mine that called me up and said, hey, I need to get a new investment property. This was late last year because I need a tax thing. I need some type of deduction. And I had one under contract that I was going to buy myself, just add my personal portfolio. I just assigned him the contract because my clients always come first. They always have. I have never bid against one. When we used to do the foreclosures, a lot of investors liked working with me because they knew I wouldn't bid against them. I would be working on a bidding on something and get a phone call going, hey, I think I want to make a bid on this. And I would grumble for a minute and they went, oh, you were just doing that, huh? No, I was, but I made a point. I won't bid against you. So it works out. Anyways, there's information below. Check it out. That instant offer program has actually worked out really, really, really well for a bunch of people. Trying to keep it short. Again, I'm in a hotel room. I've got a little homework to do tonight. Plus, I got about 4 contracts I need to work through. So I wanted to make sure you got the information, but we're going to keep it a little shorter this week. Thanks for watching. Have a great week.
I'm a man on a mission.
My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there and
Don't need no permission.
I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth?